who stays in that canal. I'm like, it never smells.
Call to order.
When I moved here,
Good afternoon and welcome to the Code Enforcement Board regular meeting on Tuesday, June 14th, 2022 at 1 p.m. Please silence your cell phones. Ms. Thompson, please call the roll.
Member Axelrod,
here,
Member Murray,
here,
Member LaSorsa,
here,
Member Perlman, Member Cherbini, Vice Chairperson Perlo,
Perlo here.
and Chairperson Slam. Okay, Town Attorney Boxner
present.
and Code Enforcement Officer Manko is also here.
Okay, can we please all rise with the Pledge of Allegiance? Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, and with justice for all. Okay, I call for a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, so the ayes have it. Okay, swearing in of the public. For those giving testimony related to the case you are affiliated with, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. Ms. Thompson, please swear in those giving testimony.
By the authority vested in me as the notary of the state of Florida, do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments? No. All right, so I'd like to do now, are there any corrections to the minutes of April 12th, 2022? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 12th, 2022?
So move.
And second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any unfinished business?
No.
No? All right, so now we'll get to new business. We have case number CC 2022-04-001 Monterey House Condominium. This is code section 30-122A, building permits required, and the violation is observed AC condensate line installed outside of unit 101 without a permit. I think, do any board members have any ex parte communications to disclose? No. At this time, I now open the violation hearing and I turn this over to Staff Code Enforcement Officer Jason Manko for testimony and recommendations regarding the violation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the record, Jason Manko, Code Compliance Inspector, Town of Highland Beach. Case number 2022-04-001. Address is 3114 South Ocean Boulevard, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted before you the following evidence. Proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on April 4th, 2022. And more recently, June 13th, 2022. On April 4th, 2022, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Observed AC condensate line installed outside unit 101 without a permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. Excuse me. On April 4th, 2022, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Monterey House Condominium. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on June 1st, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of today, no permit has been issued and the violation remains. The town is recommending that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance. Town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250, also payable by the date set for compliance. Thank you.
Does the board have any questions for staff?
What's the date of compliance?
The date of compliance on this one was May 2nd, 2022.
And it was issued in January? No, April.
No. So the violation was discovered April 4th, 2022. They were given to May 2nd, 2022 to get the permit. Permit was not obtained at that point, so it was issued a code hearing. So here we are now.
Now, what happened yesterday? Because you mentioned June 13th.
What
There's
happened
there was a
yesterday?
follow-up on June 13th.
Oh, that was stating that the violation remains and it's in
okay.
the same.
As of yesterday,
Yes,
okay.
in the same condition it is now and no permit has been
Oh,
issued
okay,
yet. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, the offender may now give testimony and please provide your name and affiliation with the violation.
Good afternoon. My name is Paula Mera. I'm with the law firm of Rosenbaum. We represent Monterey House. The law firm's actually represented Monterey House for many years. This was brought to our attention last week with respect to the notice of hearing. And the board requested our attendance to explain the background and to, most importantly, request an extension of time to address and to cure the violation. This condensate line actually originated in 2018. It's my understanding that the board at that time did work with the town or a town inspector when the condensate line went in. But nonetheless, today we are here. Recently, as of yesterday and last week, the board members worked together to obtain a contractor, worked with the town to understand what was necessary with respect to the permitting. Amicaya Contracting, Dion Stridham, actually spoke to Jason yesterday, right? With respect to what needs to be done, and that's a plumbing, electric, and a GC with respect to the permitting process. It's my understanding as of yesterday, the contractor has filled out the permit and will be working towards obtaining the permit and then doing the work necessary to conform to the code for this condensate line. The condensate line actually was put in as a result of a lawsuit. Again, not relevant here today. The board of directors had believed they complied with the code. When it was brought to their attention in April, it was one board member. Several other board members now are involved after this notice, and they are working diligently to conform to the code and obtain the permit. So we're asking for an extension of 30 days up until the next hearing. Do you guys, I assume, meet monthly for the compliance to occur?
Well, anyone have any questions for her
For her?
or
Now I have a question for
Jason?
our officer.
No, for Jason.
Any for her? And then we can
No, I don't have
switch?
any.
No, I don't have any.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So was there always a condensate line that came in?
So my understanding was, as she explained, this resulted from, an issue with one of the unit owners at some point in the past. I am not sure when it happened. It might have been 2018, 2019. Fact of the matter is, it exists, right?
It's
And it was,
existed
and
since
there was a hole drilled through, the wall, breaching fire, structural issues could be, I don't know. But that's why we request permits. There's some electric damage. And then obviously the plumbing for the condensate line.
So this hole goes into the
It's-
person's unit, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look inside the unit, what's going on there, but that hole doesn't, belong there, at least not without a permit. So,
So it's basically that they need a condensate line and they need a permit.
right, I think there was a failure with their existing condensate line, and that was put in as an emergency kind of resolution there.
In their history, do they have a new air conditioner? Because probably the condensate line. they have
There was another issue with their, I believe it was that one, but that wasn't,
No, but I'm saying if they had an older unit, a smaller line would have accommodated it. looks like they have an.
Yeah, that may be for the entire stack. I don't know, where that originates
So they
from,
need one, and
Yeah.
they need a permit.
for sure. Yeah.
And Jason, so this has been outstanding since two
No,
thousand
I was just,
eighteen?
no, it was brought to my attention,
Okay,
back in April.
Jason,
Yes,
this was here before. Oh, I understand. This is not a new line.
this work was done
It's a
some odd
replacement.
years ago.
It's a replacement though. Do we
No,
need-
it's a new line.
It's not a
It's not a
replacement.
replacement.
No, it's a new condensate line. The old
Okay.
condensate line, my understanding is it might have collapsed or it's, blocked. It's
Might
not
be on the
functional.
slab.
It was backing up
Okay.
and this was the solution. They didn't pull permits, because of, if it was a replacement of a condensate
Right.
line, different story.
Okay.
But this was a new core drill through the building, which creates fire hazard, it creates structural hazard. It damaged some electrical, you can see in the photos where it came out and it kind of hit an electrical junction box. So I don't know what their plans, they may remove that electrical junction box, but again, permits required. And then obviously the plumbing for the condensate line is going.
okay. Does the offender wish to offer any rebuttal testimony or ask questions?
Yes, let me just clarify for the historical perspective and record. This particular issue arose in 2018. At the time, Unit 101 was owned by another person. And this issue, Unit 201 had a leak from the stack condensate lines coming in. So to address that issue, a lawsuit ensued, and part of that resolution of the lawsuit was to correct the condensate line.
Oh, so this drains from a second story.
Yeah, well, it drains from a whole entire stack of the building.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
so the condensate lines are draining from the entire stack for one condensate line.
Right,
But what occurred sometime in 2018 prior to that was a leak. My understanding of that was it originated in one or two levels, first level or second level. So the contractor that was retained at the time, again, from a board of directors, went and then ran a different line for what their understanding is either a few of those stacks up, but that's part of the discovery now that we're undertaking is the origination of that new line from that contractor, what was done, how do we fix it, how do we correct it? So again, this was discovered in April. Unit 101, I believe the unit owner may have filed a complaint or may have complained about the line coming through. And my understanding is it comes through that unit somehow. And that's what originated Jason's inspection of the condensate line. That was April. There was a board member in residence at the time who attempted to address this by explaining that they believed they had a permit. Was it permitted? Did we need a permit? The contractor told us we didn't need a permit. Whatever occurred, again, today we're here with a deadline to meet, and we are asking for an extension of 30 days. And since the hearing notice and my involvement and the other board members' involvement, we have made efforts, of course, to retain the GC, which now we know we need a GC and not a plumber, not electrician, but a GC for the electric permit, the plumbing permit, and of course, just the GC sign off, which is in the works today.
okay. Any questions or should we begin to
Yes, may I
deliberate?
speak? May I speak? This
I'm
is-
sorry, I'm sorry, Lisa, I'll have to swear you in
Okay,
by the authority vested in me as a notary. Wait, Lisa, I can't see you. Can you turn on your video?
yes. Hold on one second.
I don't even know who she is.
This is the owner of
Oh,
Unit
okay,
101.
now we know.
Don't use swear words.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, please? By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask my question?
Please state your name for the record.
Lisa Hines Compress is my legal name.
You can proceed, Lisa.
Thank you. So yes, as Paula stated, I am the new owner of 101. I moved in June. It's just about a year actually today or this month. And I had a small, I have a built out in my bedroom where they added this new pipe from the second floor down to the first floor. But the thing that's concerning from my perspective, obviously a personal perspective, but the thing that's more concerning is the pipe, how they drilled into the building without a permit, and that pipe is sticking out on the outside of the wall. I'm not really sure, my initial concern was, of course, structural. And there are some things, obviously, that job needed to have a permit to break the concrete outside portion of the wall. So that's a concern. I think all residents would like to have addressed that the building structurally is safe. And then personally, I would like the building to address it with me, what they plan on doing with that pipe that is now in my apartment.
So if you guys would like me to answer and
Is she asking us that question?
I'm not certain,
Because
so
we can't
I'll
answer.
just address it generally with respect to, and then if you guys want to follow up. The process that, of course, that we're now here today for is the permitting process. And so what that's going to look like from the time that we turn the application in, to the time that it's issued, and every inspection thereafter, of course, will conform to code. That's part of the permitting process. I will say in defense of the board of directors, not that it's necessary to even defend that, but we do rely upon our contractors. And oftentimes when we do retain contractors, we are in the process of making sure they show up, and of course they're getting paid. And unfortunately, sometimes either you're a board member or perhaps you're an individual owner, you are not privy to the permit process, or perhaps you just don't know. So that is most likely what occurred here.
Paula, the board is, the board.
But let me finish, and then you'll be able to also then respond, please. So what occurred here, again, it was 2018. Ms. Compress, with respect to interacting with you during this process, I will work with the board to determine what that process is going to look like, especially because obviously they'll be in your unit, they'll be in 201 as well. And I don't think that's necessary to be part of this particular hearing today.
Yeah, I believe the hearing is specifically about the violation. The other things we're not involved with.
And I just want to follow up with, I think it's very reasonable and rational for an extension in this particular situation. It was just brought to the board of directors' attention in April. It is a board of directors. It's not an individual owner where it's upon just one person to get things going in the right direction. And they certainly, since doing so, have taken very diligent and timely steps to move through the permit inspection process for this conduit line.
Does anyone want to make a motion in regard to what Jason suggested or something different?
Jason's suggestion was that we charge her the $250 and give her the 30 days.
No,
We have to make that decision. Yeah.
Jason, if I'm correct, yours was for May 13th or something like that, at $250 being imposed.
From the date of compliance.
Yeah.
This is May,
Yeah.
date requested for compliance.
right,
Yeah,
that he was requesting that we charge him.
Oh,
She's asking for a 30-day extension
He says-
from today as
oh,
opposed
so
to
retroactively to May?
Though we were requesting retroactively to May, she's requesting a 30-day extension.
And I also want to point out, just again, for the record, that this particular association, the condo building, which you all probably see it as you drive by,
Mhm.
it's undergoing extensive concrete restoration at this point in time. So as far as the safety or the structure of the building, the engineer is there frequently, and the inspections, with respect to the engineer's inspections, obviously were the entirety of that structure. So with that said, this conduit line, the engineer did not find anything specific with respect to any structural integrity with respect to the conduit line itself. Overall, again, the work is being performed at this time.
How big is the board?
The board is 7.
And there was only one person available and they couldn't, in April, and they couldn't contact any of the other 6?
No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I believe that this board member thought he was doing the right thing by trying to communicate and get some historical background on why it wasn't permitted in the first place and whether it needed a permit, and working through that particular process for that particular month, and believed he had perhaps resolve something. So it wasn't that the other board members were disinterested. It was just this board member had believed, again, the perspective on this is they hired a contractor to do this work. And they did some background research into whether, is it a permitted process? Is it not? And then again, when I was involved and became involved with respect to this hearing is when it was realized certainly that we're going to move through this permitting process and we're going to need the 3 permits for the plumbing, electric, and GC overall permit.
So
So
there
what
are,
the association is asking- so what the association is asking for, which I believe is more than reasonable, as opposed to penalizing the association for something that occurred that they tried to fix out of a lawsuit for Condensate Line. I believe the reasonable approach here is to provide the extension as opposed to penalizing the association back to May 14th for a $250 per day penalization. Especially again, the association's moving forward with major concrete restoration work. The condensate line, again, this isn't a defense by any means, but I think it's a reasonable approach to recognizing why an extension is the reasonable result here. And that is because this has been there since 2018. And just bringing to the attention of the board in, 2 months ago, we're addressing it now, moving through the permitting process to resolve it overall.
When did you apply? The permits are applied for now, correct?
The permit is not yet applied for. The permit with respect to the contractor who was retained this week. Last week, they moved through the process of trying to determine what is necessary for a permit. They originally, last week, worked with a plumbing company. The company that they contracted with in 2018 is technically out of business. It was sold to another entity, to another person. So they first worked with, before even receiving this, they were working with that original contractor to determine if a permit was pulled. Why wasn't the permit pulled? The original contractor says that person that owned that company is long gone. Now here I am, I'm willing to work with you guys, but lo and behold, that was not the type of contractor the association needed. So through the following few days, the association determined that it was electric, plumbing, and GC overall. So they have retained the contractor, and the contractor is in the process of, I believe, either submitting today, and I can't testify to the accuracy of that, but this week for the permit to move this forward.
Can I ask Officer Michael a question?
Yes,
If we met last month, would this been in front of us last month?
Oh, I'm sorry. If we
No,
met-
this wouldn't have been on the docket for last month because again, I think their compliance date was May 2nd.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't.
That was when the trigger was pulled on it.
Okay.
So that's when it got sent
So
here.
this is
and
the
it
first
wouldn't have been
time-
in time for that
This would
last.
be the first time we're
Yeah,
hearing. it.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. That makes my mind.
do we have a motion on this?
Yeah, we need a motion.
I do have a motion. I move that the respondent be found in violation of town code as alleged in notice of violation, and that they be ordered to apply within 30 days or be fined $250 a day. And the violation remains after the date of set of compliance, and asset prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance. That gives you the 30 days.
All in favor?
Do we have a second?
A second.
I'll second it.
I know.
All in favor?
I'll do a
Aye.
roll call.
Oh,
Member LaSorsa,
Aye.
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member Axelrod,
Yes, with the suggestion that they get that, those applications in as soon as possible.
ASAP.
Vice Chair Perlo. Vice Chair Perlo,
Okay, I thought you said somebody else's name. Yes,
Chairperson Slam.
I'm going to abstain on this vote.
because he didn't hear it.
I didn't hear the whole
Yeah.
thing, so.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
We,
All right,
Okay.
case
Thank
B.
Officer Manco, because he's so good.
Oh, stop it.
Case number
I'm telling you.
2022-04-005, Donald and Marie Creef. And that's at 4019 South Ocean Boulevard. The violation was observed complete remodel without a permit. And do the board members have any ex parte communication to disclose? Okay, at this time, now open the violation hearing, I turn it over to the code enforcement officer.
Thank you. Jason Manco for the record, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance. Case number 2022-04-008. Address is 4746 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 10, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents, and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during an inspection on April 14th, 2022. On April 14th, 2022, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Observed complete remodel without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. A notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll, Donald and Marie Creef, and the contractor Cindy Fiorino. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on June 1st, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of today, the violation remains and no permit have been issued. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance. The town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is the work completed, Jason?
No, the work is stopped. at
Oh,
this
it did
point. There's a
stop.
stop work order issued on the property, yes.
Now, there was a contractor from day one, is that correct?
There was a contractor, yes. They were working under a flooring permit. There was a permit open
Under
on the.
what type?
A tile flooring permit, but it was well beyond the scope of that permit. Yeah, and as of now, there is a window and door permit that's been applied for, but has not been issued. But again, that's still not covering the scope of the work.
You said it's a complete remodel, so we're assuming
Complete
cabinets, everything.
Electrical, plumbing, structural.
They haven't applied for anything?
Like I said, there's been a
Window and
window
door.
and door permit.
Window and, that's it?
That's it. Yeah,
That's it.
And they've been notified since last April?
correct.
Last April?
Well, this past
This
April. I
past
think
April.
is what I meant to say,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, are the offenders here present? Donald, would you like to come up and address the board?
Made a couple of handouts for all the, for at least 3 of the board members about people that are in contract already with us.
Do we take these?
You want to give them to the clerk, please?
I figured you know.
That's also all the correspondence, emails that have gone back and forth to you guys from All Phase Construction, as well as from the architect and engineer that's on board already.
I see here on June 7th. That was last week. Good morning, Jason. Just wanted to let you know that our company is actively working on the building plans for the above referenced. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Yes.
Susanna Cruz.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Dr. Donald Creef. I'm actually a neurosurgeon. I live in New York. I live in Merrick. I grew up in Florida. I've vacationed in Highland Beach for a long time when my kids were young. Always wanted to buy a place here. So last August, actually, we closed on a place in Boca Highlands. Turned out that it was actually a friend that we didn't even realize it was a friend of my parents. Wind up buying the place and realized that it needs to be renovated. So I have a friend of mine that has a cousin that actually is this guy, Frank Farino, Cindy Farino's husband. He was engaged as a contractor to do our work. So hired him. He started doing, I guess, some demolition work back in November. Being a homeowner and not an HOA person, I assumed that he would not be allowed to do any kind of work in a, gated community essentially without having permits. So I had no idea, honestly, that he was doing work without permits. He got flooring permits, which I subsequently found out later. And I don't really dislike the guy, but obviously he tried to cut some corners by not getting the permits. Since that time, I got notified basically by text through Frank that there was a stop work order on my property. I'm actually, in the OR, and I come out and get a text that this is going on. That was back in April. Back in April, I called Frank, hysterical, essentially, like, there's a stop work order. It's embarrassing. I got a big, orange thing on my door. It's completely ridiculous. And his answer was, let me get a hold of Cindy. Cindy's his wife. Cindy's the administrator of the contracting company, and started working essentially to get people involved. She got a hold of this guy, Randall Fowler, apparently, who is an engineer, who actually went and took pictures and was supposed to be doing drawings in order to get the structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing all organized. That was back in April. So the plan was, we submitted an email, or they submitted an email back then, saying we hope to have all documentation to you by Friday, April 29th. Subsequently, the guy stops returning anybody's phone calls and ghosts us. Okay, so we have no idea, what's going on in terms of him. I finally get involved, got this Susanna Cruz person involved. We had called multiple engineering companies. Apparently, they're so busy, they don't even need the work. We finally got a hold of this Susanna Cruz person. I met with her via Zoom from home, and then actually came directly from the OR yesterday on an Uber right here to deal with her directly. I didn't want to send an attorney. I didn't want to send a representative. As the homeowner, I wanted to be responsible for my own, business. So she's engaged, actually just got a contract from her today. She's already taken pictures, done measurements, and she's going to be handling everything, soup to nuts, including the expediting in terms of getting the permits. So, we're moving forward. Thankfully, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm really upset with my contractor because, I can't imagine that he thought he could get away with that, number one. And if I ever decide to sell the place without having appropriate permits, it would be a disaster. So the fact is, everything, the wall, everything is pretty, there's things that are structurally everything's all open. Nothing's been closed up. It's obviously not livable. There's no bathrooms, the lights, the lighting's been done. There's things that have been done structurally, but really nothing else. The window permit, as far as I know, is now been approved. My windows are delivered. They're actually in the garage, and we're waiting to be installed based on what you guys say. But basically, I'm sorry, and I had no idea that this was going on without appropriate permitting. Apparently, this is the guy's MO. I like the work he's doing. I don't like the fact that I wasn't even given the option of okay, try and do this, without getting permits or get the appropriate permits. Clearly, I want to rectify the situation without getting fined, and hopefully, I can move forward and be a productive, member of Highland Beach.
Thank you. Yeah. Just to sum up your whole situation here, you're definitely not the first person that has hired a contractor that they assumed was going to take care of everything, and that lives out of state like you, and then basically gets screwed by the contractor who does not do what they said and didn't even apply for permits, and you had no knowledge of it.
Listen, I would say this. The analogy is like me being in an operating room and someone does something wrong. It's my patient, it's my responsibility. And as the homeowner, I understand that. But the bottom line is, I'm moving forward as fast as I can. I live in New York. I'll come down here as often as I have to make sure things are going in the right direction, including today, which, I met with the contractor, with the engineer today. I just don't want to get blasted in fines. I'm already, dealing with a big renovation already, and, have another place up north that I live in.
I think we understand that this wasn't willful on your part, and, you didn't intentionally just try to cut corners here.
And honestly, from the time that we were even notified, it wasn't like, you said this happened in April, but in the end, I moved forward. This email got sent from them assuming that he had an engineer on board, the engineer basically doesn't do the work, and I had to get my own person, from, without even having the contractor. So it's been, a difficult road. And, I want to get in here as soon as I can, but, I would, plead with you guys not to kill me on fees, because I really want to get things going, and it's expensive enough as it is just doing the renovation and getting the permits.
Do any board members have any questions for the offender?
You have a contract, a written contract with that contractor?
No written contract. He's a friend of my, he's a friend of a friend. And I've seen work that he's done. I didn't even ask him about the permits, honestly.
That was mistake number 2 right there.
Yeah, listen, I have contacts with everybody else. And like I said, I don't even dislike the guy. He's doing unbelievable work. I'm sure everything's going to be fine in the end. I just don't like being put in a position where I'm the one that's like, where's he? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here taking the blame for something that he should have done without even giving me the option of, do you want to work without permits, or do you want to get the permits? It's ridiculous, honestly.
Doctor, I just want to know, the legal is Evanton Bay Townhouses, but you said Boca Highlands.
Boca Highlands, Evanton Bay is in Boca Highlands.
Okay.
And just one more thing. So after speaking with Susanna today, basically what she's saying to me is they'll be able to submit, they already came to the house. I sent them all the plans. They've already taken pictures. They're already, ready for me to give the go ahead to start working on to start getting things going. They're telling me it's probably going to be 30 days to submit. From what she's seen. And I think one of the people that she works with was, part of Highland Beach, code enforcement at some point. So they kind of know what's going on. But she's saying most likely 30 days to submit. And from what she's seen, the work that's been done is not going to have any problems meeting code as far as she knows.
Does your contractor know, now it's the same contract day one?
Yes.
Correct? Does he know what's going on here?
Yes, he does.
I'd love to know what his response was.
He didn't really have a response, honestly. I don't, and honestly, I spoke to him today about it, and I said, like, this is like, I get this contract. Yeah, it's All Phase Roofing and Construction. That's them. They're right on the top of that list. Apparently, even saying to him, like, this is my contract with Susanna. It's, roughly, 15,000 just to get all the structural, mechanical, electrical and everything done, all the drawings. Is this a reasonable amount of money? I asked him, and he's like, I don't know. The fact that he doesn't know that is a problem in the first place, because he's obviously doing things without permits routinely.
Well, he's a roofer, he covers everything. Here's the deal, I got a question. This guy started to work without blueprints, and now he's going for blueprints.
I don't know. I don't know. Plans. I don't know about,
Blueprints, plans,
Yes.
Engineering.
Yes.
I can understand.
He had
demolition.
he had the plans that I gave him that I had from the previous buyer. So he had, I don't think he had new.
So you
design
didn't give
plans.
him a plan
No,
of new work.
Absolutely right.
You just gave him existing.
I
plans.
gave him existing, and as things have gone, like, it started out where we're going to do the floors and we're going to redo the upstairs bathrooms, and that's going to be that. And little by little, it's like, he had all these great ideas, which I happen to like the ideas, which I'm saying that's why I don't dislike the guy. His ideas are excellent, but in the end, things started off, listen, honestly, I had no idea that you could do work in a gated community without, like, I get calls from the HOA every day. It's like, okay, well, we need this, we need that. I need the window permit. I need this permit. I'm like, okay. So I assumed that he was working on that. He had, the HOA, chairperson's phone number. They spoke routinely and basically got blindsided. But I got blindsided.
What was code enforcement asking for, Jason?
You want to repeat the?
Just once.
Recommended that they be found in violation of the town code as alleged notice violation, be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, which on this property was April 25th, 2022. And then prosecution costs in the amount of $250.
And he's saying he's not even gonna have a permit in for at least another 30 days, right? From now.
And honestly, like, you know, I got that notification. I mean, I got notification, like, whatever that was, April 20, whatever, middle of April. And, you know, called the contractor immediately. And his response was, this happens all the time. I'm gonna send a letter to the town. And that's why that letter is included in my correspondence with you guys. So he, you know, because obviously we weren't gonna be in compliance a week later. So, you know, we had an engineer, you know, quote unquote, engaged as of, you know, a couple of days after we got the notification. And then the guy's supposed to be doing drawings, doesn't do them, doesn't answer our phone calls. And now I have my own engineer on board that I got myself personally, who is on board officially.
But you're still using the same contractor, and that contractor knows that you could be fined here today. Has he
1000%.
made any offer or anything like that?
Nope.
We have any discussion, motion on this?
I don't think he's going to get angry at me. I think that we have to fine a certain amount. I'm certainly not going to suggest that we fine him from the day of thing. So I would say a number of $1,000. And
And what about-
Plus the 250
Plus the 250,
cost
yeah,
of prosecution.
yes,
And what about the time? Are we gonna give him any time?
30 days, but after 30 days, it's 250 a day.
And, right.
I mean,
So-
first of all, I mean, I would, you know, we had discussed this. I mean, I did what I could do all the way along the way. Okay. Like I said, I'm a doctor. I don't live in a condo in New York. I live in a home. I've never had to deal with an HOA. I would hope that you guys wouldn't find me anything, honestly, which is what Jason kind of told me, that it's unlikely that I would get fined. Now that, you know, I'll give you the contract, the executed contract with the architect and engineer ASAP, so that you have that. I mean, how is 30 days? Like, I have no control over that. I have control over my practice. I don't have control over what the engineer is how fast that's going to happen. And when she submits to you guys, like, if it's not done, I mean, she'll do it as fast as she can. And she knows I'm here as well. But I mean, listen, please don't find me. I'm getting blasted already in
I
feet.
have to say this, I'm the most lenient guy here probably. But the thing being, is it's your contractor who you allowed, no, I'm sorry, you allowed to continue to go forward. So at this point,
Well, he hasn't gone forward. Once the work stopped, the work stopped. Nothing's had nothing. I mean, once we got the work stoppage, that was the end of the
yeah,
story.
but how did he get to the point where he's doing demolition work? He's a certified state general contractor and he knows that he needs plans and permits. So you're gonna probably, because his motion will probably pass, you're gonna have to pass that on to your contractor. I don't see where this is a case of you totally being hands clean. I think that you're a good man. I think, you know, you have a good occupation and you have good intention, but that doesn't change that the action occurred.
And on top of it, I don't think 30 days, which we're gonna give.
I didn't hear you.
I said, I don't think 30 days is going to give him enough time, but that's what we usually give.
Well, here's the
See.
funny thing, the 30 days, April 29th. So it's rolling. It's not like it's,
Right.
it was stagnant. It's a rolling thing.
you know what? And also physician to physician, I'm a physician also. I would tell you to go back to this contractor and say, any fine from me, if you want to continue on with this very expensive work, okay? You don't have a contract with him. I would say, suggest to him that he cover your fine. But
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
He should have accompanied you here today.
I agree.
Yeah, I
exactly,
agree.
so that,
I mean, I can see where you said certain words, like he created embarrassment for you. He should be embarrassed,
Right.
not you.
Well, it's my responsibility. That's my apartment.
Well, it is ultimately yours. And he said, you're not the first person that comes from out of state to Florida and doesn't understand the process. You're not going to be the last one to get duped by a Florida contractor. Trust me.
No, we don't judge based on your intent or, you know, it's somebody has to, the buck has to stop somewhere, you know? and it falls on the homeowner.
David, you want to make a motion? Somebody?
I thought I made the motion already.
Well,
Okay.
do I-
one more
You
time.
didn't do.
Well, where is that to find it?
It's number
Number 3, right?
5, no, number 4. No, it's
Three.
Three, right?
Three.
Okay. I move that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation, and that he be ordered to comply within, we can still say 30 days?
Yes.
30 days and be fined $1,000 for, I think that's because this doesn't, this,
Flat fee.
a flat fee, yeah, as a flat fee. Is that,
I don't know if that's the motion.
is that,
No,
no?
No,
No, I think maybe if I understand what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
you would like to probably make a motion finding the respondent in violation of town code as alleged as a violation. And that they be ordered to comply within 30 days. If they fail to comply, I don't have my, I'm sorry. In the event that they, that there is no compliance within 30 days, there shall be a fine assessed of $250 a day until such time that there is compliance. In reference to the amount from the previous compliance date, there shall be an amount of $1,000 that be entered for that specific portion. So essentially, it's going to be $1,000, and then that will be abated until such time that there is the 30 days that pass, and then we'll start back up at $250 per day. I believe that's the motion you want to make, as I understand the dialogue and the discussion.
does the clerk have that? Does the clerk have that motion?
Plus the $250 possible.
What's that?
You got that?
Can we repeat
Does-
that motion one more time, please?
Can I repeat it?
Can I just
Mouthful.
ask one more question?
Go ahead.
So now this person's engaged, now they're working to get me my permits. So the bottom line is that no matter what happens,
We don't see that. We only know after it goes into the building department.
okay, but I understand, but now you're saying that even that if it takes 30 days to submit and it doesn't get approved, then I still have to pay $250 a day every single day after that?
But you see, you sent us proof that you started in April with this exact thing we're talking about today. We're not trying to be mean to you.
But the point is that I had this Randall guy who was supposedly working on everything up until that point.
We didn't engage him. You engaged him. That's the point. And what he said, what was that perfect phrase you said?
The buck has to stop.
No.
Oh.
yeah, but you said
the
that.
legalese.
Oh, there's an answer for a physician. It's called captain of the ship.
I agree.
Correct. The captain
Oh,
of the ship.
strict liability.
It's liability.
Yes.
So,
Somebody's liable. And
So-
you making your contract.
But is there a possibility, like, I understand I'm gonna get the fine,
I'm gonna
But-
tell you. I don't ever give a fine. He gave a very lenient fine. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
but the lenient fine is the fine that's already been.
Pass it on to the
Right.
contractor.
Yeah.
That's all.
But the problem is going forward, if I'm.
You're gonna have a fine if you don't comply with the suggestions of the town.
So you need to get on your contractor and let them know, hey,
You
you have
need your
30 days or I'm gonna get fined $250 a day, which I'm gonna pass on to you.
You got an engineer and an architect and you got a contractor. That's your team. You gotta coordinate them and get them into the project.
Call them every day.
That's it.
Okay, so
did you want? him to-
motion,
Did you repeat it or?
the motion, are we gonna repeat it a third time? Because for the clerk,
Danielle.
Yes.
Yeah, so to stick with, I guess, what you guys have normally, the motion will be that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as has been alleged in the notice of violation. And that he or she be, and he be ordered to comply within 30 days, or there'll be a fine that will be commencing at $250 per day, which will remain per day fine until such time that there is full compliance. And that there's an assessment of prosecution cost in the amount of $250 payable.
Right up to $1,000.
I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
getting to it.
I'm gonna get to that. And then in reference to the outstanding amount based upon the date of original compliance, that it should be essentially mitigated down to $1,000, which is within your authority of
Flat fee.
flat fee. But in the event that there is not compliance within on the 31st day, that's when the 200.
Then it compounds.
Correct.
Okay,
So as it stands right now, this individual owes 1,250, if I understand the math correctly.
thank you.
Do we have a first?
Could I just ask one more question before I go? So we have permits now for the windows. Am I allowed to do the windows now?
Jason?
You'd have to ask.
Yeah, you can, if you have permits issued, but your permits aren't issued for your windows yet, they're pending. So when they get issued, that's gonna be, you'll have to talk to the building official about that, because I don't know if what they're not being issued for at this point, it might be pending.
My neighbor, as far as I know, they actually were issued. My neighbor in Unit 9 is doing them with the same guy. We applied at the same time.
Okay, I know, but you have a code violation on your property with other work that's, so
But the window guy called me and said, your permits are done. I have them.
I just checked and they're not. I know they're not. They may have the permits for their unit, but permits are not issued yet for your unit. So that would be something you have to check with the building official. Okay,
Roll call
Do we have a first?
Yeah, what?
up first.
I made the motion.
You made the
Okay,
motion.
and
Do
then
we have a
who's the
second?
I'll do the second.
Okay, thank you. Member Axelrod,
Yes,
Vice Chairperson Perlo,
Yes,
Member Murray,
Yes.
Member La Sorsa,
No,
and Chairperson Slam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I hate giving fines, but pass it on to your contractor.
oh,
And he
definitely.
voted it down. So, all right.
next one.
Next case is Fertel Burton Trust, 3210 South Ocean Boulevard, 403. That's the Villa Costa. Violation, observed electrical and structural work without permit. The board members have any ex parte communication to disclose? Anyone? Ex parte communications? Okay, at this time, I open the violation hearing. Mr. Manco, testimony recommendations.
thank you very much. For the record, Jason Manco, Code Compliance, Town of Highland Beach. This is case number 2022-04-007. Address is 3210 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 403, Highland Beach, Florida, 33487. I have submitted the following evidence, proof of service, supporting documents and photos taken of the property that fairly and accurately represent what was observed during inspection on April 14th, 2022. On April 14th, 2022, the property was inspected and the following violations were discovered. Observed electrical and structural work without permit in violation of Town Ordinance 30-122A, building permits required. On April 14th, 2022, a notice of violation was sent to the owner listed on the property appraiser public access tax roll. Burton C. Fertel Trust owner. Service was obtained by posting at the property address on June 1st, 2022. In addition, a copy of the notice was also posted at Town Hall. As of today, the violation remains. No permits have been issued. Town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day. For each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance. When this date for compliance was issued, it was issued erroneously. I only gave a few days, according to the thing there, but I extended this after speaking to him for another 2 weeks. So it was extended to April 29th, 2022.
I don't know, but I don't have that last paper showing,
What, the notice of violation?
no,
What? So
on
the
this-
notice of, oh, do you have the old copy?
I have
No.
one from April 14th.
Oh, you have one.
April 14th is the
2022.
notice of violation.
It's all the
And
way
then
at the
the
back.
date to comply on there was April 18th. And I erroneously gave him not enough time to comply there. April 29th, yes.
So would this come in front of us in May?
No. No, because it still wouldn't have, because there's not enough time for, when it gets sent to her, they got to process the paperwork to get the thing. So it wouldn't have made it to the last hearing.
Is this yours, sir?
Last one.
Looks like the other property.
Live in this unit? You reside in this unit?
Do you want to,
Do you
Yes,
reside in this
the
unit?
offender is present? Okay.
come on up?
I closed on the unit, I think early February. I've yet to sleep there. And it's a serious group, so I'd like to add a little humor to this place. I lived in 40 years, I lived out in Boca West. I had 3 different apartments. And the second one, after my wife passed away, I started taking up with a young lady, and she became my significant other and moved in with me. Never said a word. Loved the place. Everything was good and this and that. Then they were building a new building. So she said, you know what?
I'd like the new building.
You're probably, she didn't say it in so many words, but the inference was, because I'm 6 years older than her, I was just 83. She said, you're probably going to leave this earth before I will. And I don't want to have to worry about the roof and cleaning the pool and the gardening and all of that. She says, let's go into the new building. So that's what we did. I sold my place, which I loved. And we moved into this new building called Akoya. As soon as we moved in there and she decorated it, she became a different person. You got to take your shoes off before you walk in. You can't put your head back on the couch because you'll stain it. Yeah, if you're going to cook food, I have to be there to clean up the sink and all of this stuff. I said, Joyce, I can't live like this. So I took a ride around and I found an apartment to rent at the Ambassador. I did it with Petrozelli Real Estate. So I signed a 2-year lease, and about, I guess it was about 5-6 months ago, I said, well, it's a little small. Maybe I'll buy another place. I like this town, nice town. So I said, well, I'm going to go find a place. Well, the prices are going up and you can't find anything and this and that. So I looked at about 6 places. Some were too big, some were too expensive, some needed a lot of work. And at that point, I decided if I could get a buy on something that needs a lot of work, I'd be willing to do that. But if I could find something that was really almost like 100% good, that's the one I'll get to. So right across the street from the Ambassador is the Villa Costa. And again, Petrozelli Real Estate showed me this apartment that just came on board. They'd already had a bid. And I submitted another bid and I got the bid. And as far as I was concerned, the apartment was perfect. Didn't need anything. Didn't need anything until I took Joyce there. So Joyce said, well, if it was me, I'd gut the whole place. I said, Joyce, I'm 83 years old. I don't want to gut the whole place. I said, everything is, well, look at the bathroom, it's dark, this is that, the cabinets, the kitchen, but I said, okay. So meanwhile, I contracted with Valentina Flooring and they got their permits and I put in a new tile. I don't know what it's called. I don't think it's I don't know what they call it now.
Porcelain.
What's that?
They're using porcelain tile.
Porous, there you go, porcelain tile. So, so he got a permit. I paid him. He did great job. And, but before he did it, I had my painter come in and put on the first coat of paint. And I had to have the baseboards and the trim taken off. So I had my carpenter come and do that. Okay, I understand you don't need a painter for license or permits for any of that stuff. So at this point, I'm going along fine. I thought, I'll have it painted. I'll put in the floor. Fourth.
Oh, so you had to get approval from the condo in order to put down flooring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, that was. I put soundproofing under it and all that.
So you were getting to become a general contractor.
Right.
Okay.
So now,
Did you apply for permits?
no,
Did your workers apply for permits?
no,
No, why not?
there was,
You don't need it.
I didn't
Huh?
need it for painting.
You didn't need it for painting. Okay, but for structural and electrical work, you do.
Well,
You didn't get to
I
that
didn't get
yet.
to that part.
Okay, well, we're kind of on a
We're ripping it.
choice, right?
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Schlam, I'm working on a
Let's just
routine
find
here.
Joyce then.
I'm right now, I'm working on a routine here. So
Yeah.
so the windup was, I'm taking, there's mirrors on that wall and that wall. So, yeah,
I don't mean to cut you short.
yeah.
But here's the gist of it.
The gist of it was.
Well, here's the gist of it.
I wasn't gonna do anything.
We understand how you got to that point.
Yeah, then I
But
was,
at this point, we have to really make a
Yeah.
decision here.
okay, so I finally found that I was gonna put in a new bathroom. And I wasn't gonna do the kitchen, but I was gonna do a new bathroom and I needed a contract.
And you weren't going to celebrate Christmas in there by that way.
Well, it was after Christmas.
We'll be celebrating Christmas by the time this case is over here.
We have to
Jeez.
cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Miles, you just don't appreciate my humor.
I'm loving it.
So anyway, I finally relented. I said, all right, I'll do the bathroom. You need a contractor. Go get a contractor. So I called my contractor from Boca West. He says, I'm doing 7 jobs. He says, I can't.
Who's that contractor?
AK Construction.
Oh, don't know him.
Yeah. Anyway, he says, I can't do anything. So
So you
I
found
called-
another contractor.
what's that?
You found another contractor?
Well, wait, it took me forever. There were 4 or 5 jobs going on at Villa Costa, which
Uh-huh.
Jason can attest to. They already ruined an elevator. They already caused a fire. They had the fire trucks there. And I was told by people, you don't want to use any of the contractors that are here. They're either slow or they're doing other jobs and they do it intermittently. So I never even talked to anybody there. So at that point,
Make a motion.
I'm waiting to find a contractor.
You're still waiting for the contract. Okay.
Oh, so we don't have a contractor.
No, finally, I have. I hired Melatini Kitchen and Bath.
Okay, all right.
He's up in, I don't know where.
Yeah, all right. So did they
And I have I have my
put the permits
contract.
in? They get the permits in?
He's going for it
He's going.
as of
So,
today or yesterday or
When did you
whatever.
hire him?
Mr.
When did you
Okay.
hire?
Mr.
I hired him a while ago. I wrote my check deposit on May 17th. And on May 27th, I gave him more money. I gave him $27,000 already.
Mr. Burton, do you
Yes.
mind if I make a motion?
Go ahead.
All right. I move that the respondent be found in violation of town code as alleged in notice violation, that he be ordered to comply within 30 days or be fined $250 a day for each violation remains of date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs of $250 payable by the date set for compliance because I respect his age.
Okay, so how many, we're giving him 30 days?
We're going
30
back to the just plain 30 days. In other words, you're not being fined, but you have to in the next 30 days, you have to get all your, everything.
I
Together.
appreciate that.
Thank,
Do I still owe you $250?
you don't owe me nothing,
No.
It was nothing until.
but thank the compliance officer.
Thank you, Jason.
I respect the guy.
250
Cost
from,
of prosecution.
oh, for the cost of prosecution. guys.
Still owes the cost of prosecution.
That's
yes.
what I mean.
Yes. Cost of prosecution, we can't waive.
Yeah, you can't
We
wait
got
that.
that. And after 30 days, it's gonna be $250 a day,
Okay.
compounded.
And don't tell those stories because 30 days are gonna pass.
Yeah. We have the motion.
We need to complete the full motion.
Complete the motion. You want
I
to?
thought I did.
Yeah, now someone says
She didn't
first
get
and
it.
second.
Proper English, not broken sentences.
I have it. All right, so that was my motion.
Okay, can we clarify the motion just one more time, please?
Say it again?
Yes.
Okay. I move that the respondent be found in violation of town.
Can you
code
turn your
of-
mic on? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I move that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in notice of violation, that he be ordered to comply within 30 days, will be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance, and assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do I pay the $250 now? Or
Only cash to him.
Yeah.
you each
Okay,
get
I'll do a roll call.
$50? Is that it?
Roll call?
I second it.
Second.
Actually, Axelrod second,
Second.
but I'll do a
You
roll
second.
call.
Okay, roll call.
La Sorsa,
Yes.
member Axelrod,
Yes.
member Murray,
Yes.
vice chair Perlo,
Yes,
and chairperson Slam.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Hey, hallelujah.
let's conclude.
So I'm going to tell you a
Uh,
joke. Don't worry.
Oh, we have the last part of it.
Too bad I'm not
Is
getting
that it?
paid by the hour here, right? By the minute.
Is that it?
You just need
You
announcements.
are, yeah, you can relax.
Okay, announcements.
You want-
Okay.
Are we done?
We have to do announcements.
I know, I got it.
Excuse us.
Oh.
It's on the second page.
All right, announcements. June 21st, 2022 at noon is the Town Commission special meeting. The same day at 1:30 PM is the Town Commission regular meeting. And on July 12th, 2022 at 1 PM is our next code enforcement regular meeting. Let me make sure it's in my calendar. Hold on a second. Let me make sure because that is
27
Tuesday.
Are you our new town attorney?
July
Just
12th. I
substitute.
didn't have it in here.
1 p.m.
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. A good idea. CE.
Are we officially over?
No,
Just a second.
because if I don't put this in now,
You won't show up.
1, 2, okay. There we go. Okay, so there being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned at 2:09.
Yeah.
good job.
Are you ready, Bert? This lady walks into a pharmacy, goes to pharmacist. I want to buy some cyanide.